I'm gay.
I'm a lesbian.
I am actually pansexual.
I am transgender.
I'm Chris from Mr. Beast.
And this is my pawn shop.
I can't believe Mr. Beast did this to Chris for coming out crying emoji.
Time to see if they've updated the gender list. They have 63 genders up there, but they can't have my gender?
Chris Tyson,
Wow, this guy is excited.
longtime Mr. Beast collaborator, well, he sparked a media frenzy when he showed up at a Nickelodeon award show looking a little bit different. Now, fans, they were quick to post comparison photos to social media, where one even got a reply from Chris himself, who stated, HRT, and it's only been 2 months.
2 months. Anyway, so you guys have been spamming me nonstop to talk about Chris from Mr. Beast coming out as transgender, or whatever he came out as. I don't know the specific term. He's taking hormone replacement therapy and he's trying to live his life as a woman now. And I've seen a lot of different responses to this on the internet. Some people are calling this like evil and it's the worst decision ever. And on the exact flip side, people are saying that it's brave, it's beautiful, it should be celebrated. Some people basically heard the news that Chris Tyson came out and responded with basically this sort of level of celebration. And I kind of want to talk about what my thoughts on this whole thing are, because I sort of have, I think, a nuanced opinion on this. And I think a lot of people are kind of in like an echo chamber to where they only hear one side of basically this whole thing, where they either think, oh, this is beautiful, this is brave, this is awesome, and everybody who they talk to is saying the same thing. Or on the exact opposite side, you have people saying, this is disgusting, this is utterly unacceptable, we have to get rid of this immediately. And then everybody who talks to them say the same thing too. So there's these echo chambers, and I sort of have a nuanced opinion on this I kind of want to share. So yeah, before I do that, if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, because at 400,000 subscribers I will be doing my face reveal. So yeah, let's get into this. Alright, so about a week ago, I think at this point, maybe a few days ago, Chris from Mr. Beast announced on Twitter that he's taking HRT, which is short for hormone replacement therapy, in order to either slow or stop his body's natural production of testosterone, which sort of happens basically because he's a biological man and that's the hormone that he would produce. So he's trying to take these steps medically to live his life as a woman, because I guess that's like how he feels comfortable. Now, I wouldn't care about this really at all if this only affected him, basically. Like, if he was the only real person affected by this decision, then I feel like myself and many others wouldn't care. I mean, think about it like if he was to do crystal meth. If he's just some guy in his late 20s who just lives by himself and does crystal meth, the only person who's really going to be affected by that at the end of the day is going to be him. But for those of you who don't know, Chris had a wife that he divorced, or she divorced him, not too sure what happened, but either way they got divorced and he had a kid with this woman, and so that means that Chris from Mr. Beast has a son. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Now, this son isn't going to have a proper father figure in his life if Chris from Mr. Beast, you know, proceeds with this quote transition and basically denounces his manhood. And that is the primary reason why I'm not getting behind this guy and saying, oh, great job, this is beautiful and brave and I support this. It's because while it is a possibility that this will turn out to be a good decision for Chris, and in the coming years perhaps he'll feel more comfortable with himself, at the end of the day, the net impact of this isn't positive because of the fact that this kid is now fatherless. I would go as far to say that the net impact now becomes negative, because if you look at the pros versus cons here, on the pros side we have Chris becomes more comfortable, potentially. On the cons side of it, his son is now not going to have a proper father figure in his life. And sure, this is anecdotal, but think back to your own upbringing, okay? Most of you watching had a mother and a father in your life that each played a unique, special, distinct role in your upbringing that can't really be replicated by the opposite gender. Do you think that you would be the person that you are today if you were only raised by your mom or only raised by your dad? Of course not. And I'm not saying that single parent households are always unsuccessful. I think that you can be raised by only your mom and only your dad and still come out to be fine and live a totally normal life 100%. But the ideal case would be to have the two people who fathomed you into existence be the ones that raise you and sculpt you into the person that you should be. And this is just not going to happen properly for Chris's son because A, they're divorced, and B, he's not going to have a sort of masculine blueprint to adopt from his father. Now, this being the case, I still don't think that it inherently makes Chris a bad person. Like, I don't think he did this this with the intent to like spite his kid or something. I think he still loves his son, and I think that he's still going to do his best to lead by example and give his son the proper upbringing, which realistically, I mean, look, the kid's probably gonna be fine considering how much money Chris has. I mean, even though he may not be a father to his son, and I do believe that that is a disadvantage, I also do think that in this case, the fact that he's so rich and he could probably get his kid into the best schools ever, spend a lot of time with the kid, travel with him, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing ever. So yeah, my entire take ultimately about this is that your actions have consequences. A second grade sentiment that I think heavily applies to this. When you're an adult and you have people that rely on you and you have responsibilities, I think that it's important to understand that these people are affected by your actions. Good example of this is if you start drinking a lot and then you start missing work or you become lazy. Well, okay, yeah, you're affected by that. You know, you become an alcoholic, but so is your job, your employer. And the comparison here is basically Chris making this drastic shift to try to live his life as a woman is going to affect people beyond himself, like I mentioned, his son. I don't know how many other people in his life are going to be negatively affected by this. I don't know how many people in his life who are going to be positively affected by this. If I did, I think it'd be easier for me to make a clearer assessment of whether or not this is a net positive or negative, but the fact that I know about the situation with his kid makes me sort of lean toward maybe negative. That being said, I think that all of the people on Twitter that are like wishing harm on Chris just because he's taking these hormones, I don't get what that achieves at all. Like, okay, you don't support this decision, you don't agree that it's gonna be a good thing, okay, that's your opinion, got it, but then you have to go and like tell him to KYS. I feel like doing that actually discredits any legitimate criticism that can be levied toward Chris here, because it allows people to sort of categorize anybody who has any problem with what Chris is doing as like these very hateful people who are just out here to harass him. Because look, you have some people that are saying KYS, you have some people that are saying, wow, you should be kicked out of the Mr. Beast crew. You have some people saying, quit YouTube, you know? When in reality, that's only a certain group of people. That's not like the majority, I feel like. At the very end of the day, okay, if you think he's a real woman now or he's not, or if you think that, you know, this is a phase or whatever you think, I think the biggest takeaway from all of this, it shouldn't be about that, honestly, because who cares, right? If he wants to take estrogen, I don't really give a crap, right? Because it would be kind of inconsistent for me to get super upset about this, but not make a video every time a YouTuber gets exposed for using hard drugs, because hard drugs are probably far, far worse and detrimental to your life than taking estrogen. So in conclusion, Chris Tyson is mainly just suffering from a massive parenting skill issue. Divorcing the shoddy and then switching teams is absolutely preposterous activity, and I think it's gonna mess with the kid. That's sort of where I stand on this whole thing, and if you guys did end up enjoying this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Follow my social medias, links are all down below, and comment down popcorn if you made it to the end of the video. I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.